starts, I'm going to tell you the unedited truth about the world that you live in. Let's begin. So let's start with the most common misconception and work our way back out of it. Like my friend was saying, he believes everything that is happening is all about money. The mandates are all about big pharma getting richer. And basically, this is what moves the world. It's all about a motive of accumulating more wealth. Again, that is a lie. Or maybe lie is the wrong word. It is a distraction that those with power want you to believe so you're not able to truly see what is driving and moving this world. Let's be clear. The reason why so many people are able to believe that money is the main motivation for all the systems being built up in this world is because money is the biggest motivation for themselves. Money is one of the first tools used when people are recruited into this system. And in the beginning, for most, money is what drives them. So they believe that the rest of the world is just like them. And guess what? That is probably true. But that is not the way the real world actually works. Do you know what the biggest fraternity in the world is? Do you know what organization consists of the most members in this world that also contains most of what we deem as the rich and successful people in this world? From world leaders to business leaders to religious leaders, entertainment leaders, social activists, etc., etc. That fraternity and organization is Freemasonry. Now, I will not get into what it is. For more information, I have made a playlist with other videos I have made that can fill in gaps for you. I have made a video explaining Freemasonry if you do not fully understand it. Either way, the reason that I have brought them up is not to expose this once secret society, but I'm going to use one of their symbols to explain how the world really works, because their beliefs are the underlying foundation of how the world system has been built. So using their way, you should look at the world not as a division simply between the rich and the poor. That will never help you understand. You can't even divide it by the rich, the middle class, and the poor. This again is still too small of thinking. You must view the world through their structure of a pyramid. This is a pyramid. You see, the base is very large, and as you go up the pyramid to get to the top, it gets smaller and smaller. If you were to fill it with people, you would see that at the base of the pyramid, you can fill it with the most people. And as you move up the pyramid, the amount of people in it gets smaller each level you go up. This is exactly how the world works, and you will not understand anything unless you understand that. And as you go up different levels, there are different motivators that move this world. When you get to the very top, it is easy to see that money is not even a thought, and it is at the top of the pyramid where all the decisions about this world are made. So let's go back to the point about money being the main motivator. This is the level of thinking that is at the bottom of the pyramid. That is because they are the ones without it, and therefore believe that obtaining it will make their lives better. And so the majority at the base of this pyramid commit their lives to moving up to a higher level within this pyramid, thinking it's all about money. But let's just review these levels in the pyramid, because this is where so much of the confusion is. How most people want to look at this pyramid is that at the next level is where we have the enforcers of the system, like the police, the IRS, etc. And then after that, the wealthy. But the levels do not move up because of positions or wealth. People move up in the pyramid by knowledge and initiation. Each level that moves up in this pyramid is about a person's level of initiation. And as a person gains in knowledge and is initiated in the ways of this world, they become one that holds its secrets, though in the beginning, the secrets are minimal. Understand, just because you are on television or an entertainer does not mean you are at a higher level in the pyramid. Just because you see a star throwing up hand signs does not mean that they're at a high level. The truth is that on the next level above us are those that have literally sold out and are trying to get the attention or prove their loyalty to move up. And what comes with that is often more money and more success and more access. That's why their level on the pyramid contains the second most amount of people. And for the most part, money and fame are their biggest motivations. But again, as you move up in the hierarchy in the pyramid, the amount of people in each level decreases, and along with money being their motivation. In school, we were taught that the President of the United States is a position that is at the top of the pyramid. But that is just not true. Maybe this was true when the position first came in the beginning of this American experiment, and more than likely that wasn't even true. But that certainly is not the truth of today. The truth is that being president doesn't even mean that you're at a high level in the pyramid. I really want you to think about it. What do you even see a president do? They read speeches, they give interviews, they take photos with world leaders, but you never actually see them leading. You may see this in the movies, but you never see this in reality. You just see a position. What we see is a person who we believe has a high-level position. We see them reading speeches, giving already prepared remarks. You think the press conferences are real? That they are answering questions that they aren't already prepared to answer? No.
I'll take your questions, and as usual, folks, they gave me a list of the people I'm going to call on.
They know the questions that they are going to be asked before they are asked. You think these leaders are in control, but they are not. They are not actually in control. It's an illusion. They are just at a higher level in the pyramid than the majority, and they are placed in the role as a figurehead that provides enough of a distraction that makes people believe that they are calling the shots and making the changes in this world. But they are not that special. They take their orders from those at the top of the pyramid, just like the other leaders in the rest of the world. When they carry out their orders, it just trickles down within the system for compliance. If you think the President of the United States is the most powerful person in the world, your reality is not real. The people actually pulling the strings, making the rules, are people you never know that live behind the curtains. Very much like a producer of a news program or television show. You know the actors, the news anchors, but you don't know who it is that is speaking to them in their earpiece, guiding what they say and who to go next to, what to say, when to cut the feed. The people you are watching are not in control. They are script readers. What I'm trying to explain is that the reality that people want to believe in is not real. It's an illusion to keep you sedated and not able to see the real puppet masters. It is an entire illusion made to keep those with power in power and those without power without it. And as long as they keep you trapped in their illusion, they will control you. It's very much like the movie The Matrix. I use this metaphor often. As long as your mind is trapped into their illusion, you are simply a pawn that can be used by them. They use their power grab of actual wealth and land accumulation to amass great power over the whole world. In the 19th century, they were already in control of the world. That's 200 years ago at least. This is the old money that has been passed down through the centuries. They used their power to build the world. They started the first multinational corporations that started employing the world. In reading David Rockefeller's memoir on page 243 under the topic Rockefellers in China, he speaks about his grandfather's company, Standard Oil, tapping into the China market in the early 20th century, and then later sending his money there to do his philanthropy, building China. This is what they did with the world. They don't hide it, they just put it in books that people don't read. They built big businesses that gobbled up the control of the world and its natural resources, building these huge companies that built the world. During the 19th century, the general public knew of them, though they didn't have access to them. If you ever watched the movie Titanic, why they distracted you about the storyline with the ship sinking, they showed you the hierarchy.
Mr. Dawson is joining us from the third class.
How the rich and the poor were around each other, but still completely separate. Over time, as their empires grew, they did three major things that changed the game and created the Matrix. They created our money, they hid behind their corporations, and created our society through their gospel of wealth, what we look at as philanthropy. They became central bankers of the majority of countries in the world, printing fake money and then controlling the banks that had access to the money. They created the corporations that created the products, services, technology, and healthcare that steered our way of life and made us their paid servants. And they used their money, by giving it away, to control how society worked, calling it, again, philanthropy. They are at the top of the pyramid. I want you to really think about this. You have heard of the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Vanderbilts, the Lees, but this knowledge of them was from the 19th century into the early 20th century. After the Great Depression, Their influence became hidden, and they became the unseen hands of the world. They are almost at the top of the pyramid, and they gained control of all industries in this world through their control of money. By controlling the money and who had access to it, it was then easy to yield their influence. They built massive corporations and funneled their money between them all. They take seats in corporations as board of directors, never being seen, while yielding their influence with assurance. So for instance, when the pandemic started, the new rules were synchronized. All of a sudden, all of the world were following these new rules that came from the top. It's because they're at the top of these companies. There is not a part of this world that is not controlled by them. They fund industries through what they call venture capitalism, like with the Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. They want you to think that these men built these inventions in their garages and they became the richest men in the world. That's a fairy tale. Think about the show Shark Tank, but on a bigger scale. That is how the world works. But the real power sits at the top of the boards and you never know of them, because you're not supposed to. They create these huge corporations and make you believe that there's competition between them. But in reality, the competition is between just a few individuals. They show us this reality in their mind-controlling programs